What up, Salvador Brigham here. Welcome back to Life of Freedom YouTube channel. On this channel, we talk about how to actually have more success in your life, whether that's health, wealth, relationships. We talk about how to be more successful in what it is that you're striving for. It could be happiness, could be spirituality. And one of the things that really just holds so many people back, so one of the things that is preventing success is actually gonna be the topic of today's video. And that's kind of an alignment when it comes to success. So an alignment of your thoughts, words, and action, an alignment of your mindsets, your behaviors, your habits, your emotions, your thoughts, etc. I want to talk about that and really break it down in more of a systematic way on today's video. All right, brother, so let's get right into this. So one of the things we talked about in a recent video, and if you haven't yet, go and check out some of the other videos I got it on this channel. One of the things we talked about that's so important to success, the habits of success, is mindset, right? Mindset is incredibly important. We kind of broke that down a tiny little bit and some of the other variables that go into success. For example, mindset and how it's tied to behaviors, what you're actually doing on a habitual basis that's leading you to success or leading you further away from success in your life. If you're trying to accomplish something, you're trying to do something, you're trying to become more, you're trying to become better, right? You're trying to improve yourself or have a certain degree, let's just say, of happiness that you haven't ever had before in your life. And really you believe that now is the time to do that. Usually it's your mindset and your behaviors. And when it comes to your mindset, you have a couple different things, right? You have your thoughts, you have your beliefs, right? The things that you believe to be true about yourself. And also you have your emotions, right? Your emotions. So what I'm going to do here today is share with you a little bit of a code. Okay, so this is a little bit of a secret code that you can use to actually decode and understand your mind. This is actually the basis of the course I made, How to Decode Your Mind, as well as the book that I wrote about unlocking success, unlocking your potential, and actually reaching towards and tapping into that potential. With so many of us, I just believe we are so far away from what our potential is, what our full potential is. If you can actually realize that, you could be so incredibly happy. I think that that's what's the thing that just for us, we wake up, we're just so going to the unhappy going to work, right? You slide out of bed and you're not really very happy anyway. It's a very gray day, right? You put your feet down on the floor and you're walking towards bed. You look at the actual mirror when you go into the kitchen and you go into your bathroom. You look at the mirror and it feels like you don't even look at yourself. You can't even make eye contact because you don't feel proud. You don't feel happy about the way that you look. You look at the mirror and you're like, I know that's me, but I just don't want to look at myself because I just don't feel good about how I am. Or maybe it's even that feeling that you have when you go and you check your ATM statement. You go to the ATM, right? It's going to spit out a little bit of cash that you need just for some pocket change. Maybe you're taking out 20 bucks. Maybe you're taking out 50. Maybe you're taking out 100, right? Whatever it is. And that payment comes through. You see that on the screen, and all of a sudden you notice that your bank balance sort of pops up there on the screen. You're like, oh, I don't even want to look at that, right? Because I maybe just don't feel good about what I have there in the bank. Those numbers are scary and intimidating. Looking at yourself is scary and intimidating. And what I want to talk about today is kind of like how to actually move past that, because so often self-sabotage is actually what is at the root of our lack of success and why it's not showing up in our life. Maybe we're showing up, but maybe we haven't yet seen that success show up in our life. So let's kind of get into the code that you must understand in order to kind of figure this out, to solve this problem, to wipe the slate clean so you can actually wake up enthusiastic as heck, excited about the day, inspired, right, to go to work. You actually want to work. And if it's something more like, for example, your relationships or your friendships, whatever, you're actually feeling joy, you're having new experiences, you're looking back and you're like, you know what, I feel like I'm like in this great moment in my life, that things are happening, that I'm so great when it comes to just being able to even look at my bank balance statement. I feel proud about that. I no longer am shying away. If you want to have abundance, playfulness, freedom, right? A feeling of luxury, wealth in your life. If you want to feel full when it comes to your potential, you need to understand what I'm about to mention. So first of all, in order to understand the code, right, the code that goes into success, let's start to create some labels or some ways in which to understand this. So first of all, I'm going to have one here, which is a circle, okay, and we're going to say that this circle is equal to a thought, okay, a thought. So whenever you see a circle, you're going to assume that's a thought, okay? Circle is going to be a thought. Make sense? Then we're going to have a rectangle, okay? This is going to be an emotion, okay? When you see a rectangle and we're plotting this out, we're doing a mind mapping exercise, you're going to associate this rectangle with an emotion, okay? Then we're going to have what are called triangles, okay? We have a triangle, and that's going to be a decision. So I'm just going to say D here for decision. Okay, so we have emotions, we have thoughts, we have decisions. Okay, and these are the things that make up our mindset. And we can say beliefs, obviously emotions, thoughts, beliefs come from ingrained, repetitive thought loop, emotion loop, decision loop. When we start to believe things that are true about us, about our potential, about life, about what we're trying to do, about the world even, right? Beliefs are kind of a combination of all of these being reinforced over time. But the cool thing as well is that beliefs can actually change, right? Depending on the things we see show up in life. So now that we have our key, right? It's literally called a key, a map. It's a key on a map. Once we have the key, it helps us to kind of unlock and decode what it is that we're going to be talking about. So first of all, I want you to picture a normal day for you. So you wake up, like I said, right? You're going to jump out of bed maybe, or you're just kind of rolling out of bed, or you hit that snooze button and it's like, oh, I don't even want to get up, right? Whatever it is, you're waking up out of bed. What do you do next? Then you start to have breakfast, maybe you go to a shower. Maybe you, if you're more like me, maybe you do a little bit of meditation, or you do some yoga, just a little bit of light stretching. Maybe you have a cup of coffee, a glass of water, whatever it is. Really think about what is your day like? And then all of a sudden you're thinking about something. What are you thinking about throughout the day? Then maybe you start to go to work, right? What happens on the way in the drive? What are you feeling? What are you thinking? What's going through your mind, right? You start to get to work, you're there at work, then all of a sudden, maybe dread or maybe happiness, right? What is it that you're feeling? What is it that you're thinking as you're going through a particular day? And what we're going to do is we're going to align that exercise with what an ideal day would look like for you, and what would it be if you're trying to actually make momentum and make movement towards your goal. So here's just an example. Let's just say we get up, right? And all of a sudden you have a thought, okay? What does that thought look like? That thought, and we probably would write down what that actual thought would be in this loop here. That thought, let's just say, is, oh man, I don't want to go to work today, because then I have to go to work and I have to do this and it's going to be really hard and it's not moving toward my potential. And if I'm going to work as well, I'm not being able to spend time on things I'd like to, I'm not able to read, I'm not able to listen to videos that are helping me on YouTube, right? I'm not able to do any of these different things. You have this thought, and let's just say it creates this emotion, right? Which we'll say that emotion, and we're just going to label it, is shame, okay? So when we use this system, when we start to decode and understand the mind, when we start to actually mind map, which I call, right? We're always going to want to connect thoughts to what emotions they're causing. And there's also even more to this that I talk about in my course and talk about in my books, right? But we're just going to do a very high level here. We're going to have thoughts and how they're connected to emotions. So let's just say, I have shame, right? That shame, that feeling like I'm not happy with what I'm doing. That shame of who I am, right? That shame of I don't feel proud about what it is that I'm doing on a daily basis in order to earn my income, in order to earn my keep, right? I feel shame about the direction my life is headed. Because of this thought, it unlocks and it opens up all these emotions related to shame. And that could be guilt, that could be other emotions we could list out here, but we're just gonna keep it really simple, right? So you have a thought, it connects to an emotion of some kind. After you have that emotion, all of a sudden, we'll say you make a decision, right? And that decision is we are going to hit the snooze alarm. We're going to hit the snooze alarm, man, because we don't want to get up yet, right? So you hit the snooze alarm, and then all of a sudden what you realize is, oh my gosh, I overslept, okay? I wake up, I have to get ready in the next 10 minutes. I got to eat, I got to go to the shower, I got to get everything ready, I got to be out the door in 10 minutes. And your mind starts thinking, right? What are some of the thoughts that you're having? I have to do this, I have to do this, I have to do this, right? I got to do this quickly. I got to just try to check everything off, right? You're very scattered. So all of a sudden, because of this decision, you start to have more of these rapid fire thoughts that are coming in, right? What does that make you feel? It makes you feel rushed. It makes you feel anxiety, right? And what does that mean about our decisions? Maybe we forget something on the way to work. Maybe we forget to do something. Maybe we forget that we had a really important thing that we had to do. Like, for example, you had to maybe even turn off the stove, right? Or you were going to take something to work, like a notebook or something like that. You forgot to do that. And all of a sudden, maybe you're behind on your learning or training. You were going to bring a book that you could read during lunch, and you forgot to do that because you're so rushed and you're thinking so much. You feel anxiety, right? The emotions that you have influence the decisions that you make, influence the actions that you take. So you're beginning to see just in a couple of seconds here, right? The thoughts that you're having are causing emotions. Those emotions are causing you to make particular decisions. So, or to overlook things, right? And to make poor decisions. So whenever we're feeling emotions that are not productive in a certain way, it causes us to make poor decisions. When you feel anxious, when you feel stressed, when you feel rushed, when you feel scared, when you feel hurt, when you feel anger, do you make good decisions or not? Leave it in the comments down below. Most often, we do not make the best decisions when we are in those emotional states, right? So the thoughts that you're having, and if I had, again, more space, I'd probably write this out actually. The actual thoughts, what are they causing the anxiety, right? So we'll say, just to make this a little bit easier here for me to go through, first thought was, hate my job. Hate job, I'll just say it here. It's kind of hard to see. Let's do it maybe a different color. Let's say hate job, right? The other thought that we had here leading to anxiety is I'm late, which is I got to do this, I got to do that, I got to do this, right? Making me feel anxiety, making me feel rushed. All of a sudden, I'm trying to go through all these different chocolate items. And that's contributing to me going into the day not prepared, overslept, anxiety-ridden, unhappy, stressed, finally get to work, and you just begin to collect your thoughts, and all of a sudden you realize I wasn't even prepared well for the day, right? So why do we do this? This is a very important exercise, and it's also something where, let's, for example, we're going to work, okay? And as you're on the way to work, let's just say you're in the car, okay? You're in the car on the way to work, it's raining, it's difficult, there's traffic, anxiety, you're yelling maybe even a little bit, you got a little road rage, which I know some people have here, obviously in Miami, Florida, right? And you start to think about something that really just, it irks you. Maybe how this romantic partner that you have said something that you just really didn't like. And all of a sudden it's just repeating and looping and looping. Or maybe you're thinking about, gosh, I really deserve better than this job, but I'm just really not smart enough, right? Or I'm not talented enough, or I'm not hardworking enough. And you start to belittle yourself, right? As you go on that path, just to your ordinary day job, you have so many thoughts that are cycling through your mind, cycling through your head. What am I going to eat? Oh my gosh, I don't even have a lot of money to spend on lunch. Gosh, darn it, right? You have these different thoughts. And again, this goes throughout the day. It goes throughout the entire day here. We have these thoughts causing emotion, causing actions. Thoughts causing emotions, causing actions, or lack thereof, right? So let's just say, for example, one thought here is we're thinking about maybe someone in our life, and all of a sudden, you know, that romantic partner, we'll just say, or someone, or even a family member, we'll say, or even someone who's a friend, that's causing us to feel a lot of anger because we're dwelling on that. We're thinking about this, it's starting to fester. So we're starting to feel angry. Maybe that's causing us to honk our horn, right? Maybe it's just causing us to not even drive as well. And all of a sudden we're driving in the rain, and it's not really great. And all of a sudden we have a decision, an action, we try to run a light, and all of a sudden, right, we hit another car. Or we have an issue, or we have an accident, right? It causes an accident, and all of a sudden, you're even worse off than when you started, okay? So this is a really important exercise because not just through this particular example, but even in your normal life. Think about the emotions that you're having. It's an easy place to start because that's kind of where you feel. If you're feeling lonely, depressed, angry, unfulfilled, if you're feeling stifled, if you're feeling kind of brain foggy, whatever it is, trace these back as well to the thoughts that you're having. So maybe like, oh gosh, I'm feeling a lot of anxiety. Why is that, right? Can you draw this out? Literally take a notebook and draw out this mind map, okay? So if you're feeling anxiety, start to think, why am I feeling anxiety? What am I thinking about? What am I doing? What was on my mind recently, okay? And start to label, start to literally write out those different thoughts and use the same code that we're talking about, okay? This is, again, just scraping the surface of what I have to share with you. So you're feeling anxiety, maybe it's because of this, because I was dwelling on that, because this thing happened to me, and I started to think about, if this happened to me, then maybe it means that this person doesn't like me, right? Really start to think about the thoughts, right, as well. So when it comes to your mindset, we talk about thoughts and emotions, okay? When it comes to this, the person, their head, let's just circle this so you can see what I'm talking about here. Let's put this in another color so you guys can see. Pretend this is someone's head. I know it's weird, right? Pretend this is someone's head. All these things are happening in their head. And if you had to sum it up, if you really had to sum it up, and we'll just say, just for this early example, it's just the beginning of their day. If we had to sum up some of the thoughts that were in their head, what were they focused on? They were focused on their work, right? Maybe. They were focused on anger, or they're focused on emotions, right? you could write out some of the different stuff they're focused on. And if we kind of just looked at that little map, it's like that person doesn't look very happy at all, right? But let's just say we take the same person. We take the same person, but put them into a completely different mindset. So this person, instead, they wake up, right? Instead of the thought that I hate my job, maybe their thought is, I'm so glad I'm only gonna have a couple of more times that I have to go to this job because I'm making rapid fire progress and I'm excited for the day and I am gonna change my circumstance. And maybe even they listen to a motivational video or they read something very quickly or they have a mantra, they have an affirmation, something that really gets them to think that this is an area of life that I'm going to improve and today I'm going to make that shift. So they don't hit the snooze, they get up immediately, they get to the shower, they get everything done. They even have minutes to spare, they have 15 minutes to spare, right? And they decide, oh yeah, you know what? I'm also gonna take this book with me, I'm gonna read this on the way in the lunch, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do that. They start to even plan their day a tiny bit. They leave and they leave early. So they're able to go in traffic and they're feeling good. And people maybe do start to cut in front of them, but they're like, you know what? That's okay. And while they're on the way to work, maybe they're even playing something, a podcast in their car, and they're listening to this podcast. And this person's talking about how you can be more successful, how you deserve to be more successful, the ways in which you can do that, the ways in which you can move closer to your goals. Let's just say one of their goals is they want to become more wealthy. Right? What are some of the easy ways in which you can save more money and invest that into the future? What are some of the ways you can start a business today, an at-home business? What are some of the ways, which even with just a phone, that you could start a coaching business or a consulting business, right? They're starting to feed themselves with information on that exact car ride, right? And they get to work, they get there exactly on time, they're at the desk and they do have to perform that work, but every single second they know that they're only there for a few more days, weeks, months, or even it's just for the next year. And they're really just here in order to make the next move possible, the next level up when it comes to their life. And at lunch, they're reading, they're soaking up more information, they're planning things out. What are they gonna be doing when they get home, right? That person is inspired. That person is focused. That person is excited. That person is motivated. They're making momentum. They have a higher standard for their life. And it all starts with mindset, right? It starts with their mindset. It starts with the way in which they're controlling all of this that's happening in their head. And by understanding this and by studying this code, which is in their mind, they can actually take control for the first time in their life when it comes to their emotions, their thoughts, their beliefs, and thus their habits that lead to success. Okay. So, as you know now, thoughts and emotions are incredibly important. But let's kind of just extend this analogy a tiny bit. Extend this analogy a tiny bit. So now let's talk just a tiny bit about beliefs. Okay? Beliefs. So what I want to do is ask you and invite you to think about the beliefs that you have about your success, about your life, about your potential, about what it is that you're meant to do even on this planet. Why it is you were gifted these incredible desires which you have to become better, to do more, to even improve your life, to improve your family, right? Think about these beliefs, because this is the next part that I want to talk about. We talk about mindset, which is tied to what? Emotions and thoughts, right? Okay, so let's talk about beliefs, right? When it comes to your beliefs, what actually forms them? How do you identify them? And how do they fit into this system? Beliefs occur over time. They're formed over time. And they're based on experiences, things that people tell us, and conclusions that we come to on our own. Okay? So we're going to have like two people here. So one is here, and one is here, we'll say. And just for a reference here, beliefs again are formed from what? They're formed from experiences. They're told from voices or what other people say. Hey, don't do this, do that. This is important, this isn't. Right? They're told by voices, and they come to conclusions. When you notice something, you experience something, you hear a voice, you make a conclusion as to what that means. Okay? Once you make a conclusion about what this means, you all of a sudden have a belief about that. Right? And the more that this happens over time, the more you see evidence in terms of experiences, evidence in terms of other people telling you things, evidence, right, in terms of conclusions that you draw yourself, you start to form sort of the bedrock of beliefs and start to become much more hardened, right, over time. And sometimes those beliefs are serving you, and sometimes they are not serving you. Okay. So when it comes to beliefs, I'm going to put this into a different shape here. So what's the shape that we could pick? So just for the sake of this video, we're going to pick another shape. Let's choose a hexagon here, and that will represent a belief. Okay. A belief. So again, using this mind mapping exercise, which I talk about in Decoding Your Mind, my course, and as well my book, Unlocking Human Potential, which is unlocking your success potential, we need to identify beliefs. We need to represent them in some way. So this could be beliefs, for example, about the thing that you want to achieve. What do you want to achieve, man? What is it? If you could think, have, do, be anything, what would that be? What would it look like? What would it feel like? Who would you become? What are those things that you've been gifted with that you're obsessing about, that you would love to have happen, that you'd love to turn into reality? Not just fantasy, but turn those things in your mind into hardcore reality. It's a movie, but you are living it. You are living it, right? Let's talk about what are some of those beliefs. Okay, so maybe one belief is that, gosh, I really wanted to start this business, but I just don't have the time, right? Or every time I try to start, I'm just really not good at figuring this out. Or I don't know what I should be reading, right? Or beliefs that I'm just not talkative enough. I'm not a business guy. I'm not maybe the good fit when it comes to this, right? Many of these things are different beliefs. You want to write down what your beliefs are, even about money. Maybe I don't deserve inward belief. My parents have told me that maybe the root of all evil is money. And I don't have the ability to actually make even more, become rich, because that's going to mean I'm one of the bad guys, right? You want to write out all of these different beliefs if you can, and it's going to really help with this particular step. So again, let's just say that these two people are headed towards a destination. However, they're not headed to the same destination, right? So throughout this destination, there are all these different little milestones, all these different little experiences, people that are saying things, beliefs that form from conclusions, all of these things that are happening. Happens over a span of time, right? So let's just say, for example, person number A and person number B, okay? So person number A goes through life, and like our first example, they wake up late, they oversleep, they're always rushed, they're not fitting in time to do anything. At the end of the day, they're so exhausted, they're so tired, they're vegging out in front of TV, and they think at night, gosh, I just don't have enough time. I just don't have enough time when it comes to my business. So maybe all of these things happen, and they come to that conclusion. Or maybe they read online or they hear from one of their friends who's like, dude, you're trying to start a business, like corporations are crooked, right? Only people that are looking to scam other people are the ones that are starting businesses, and they're having this conversation, right? So maybe they're getting fed things when it comes to their voices, the voices that are happening, the voices that they're listening to, the things that they're reading, right? Maybe they even have an experience of some kind. So maybe they have an experience of sort where they actually do try to sell something. Maybe they do try to start a business, but it just doesn't work for them the first time they try it. Maybe the first person where they said, I have this incredible idea for a new product, and I think it's gonna help everyone. I think it's gonna be so cool and solve this one particular problem. And the person laughs them out the door because they're like, dude, you're gonna need so much money. There are so many competitors out there. You would never make it. And they have an experience. And they come to a conclusion that they aren't fit for this. So maybe then they have that other experiences, right? However, one of the things that you'll start to notice is that whether it's the voices, the experiences, the things they're hearing, whatever it is, they need to come to a conclusion always in order for this to become a belief over time. And it goes back to what we talked about, which is thoughts, right? Thoughts and behaviors and emotions. Thoughts, behaviors, and emotions. They're doing things. They're having thoughts and they're having emotions. So for example, let's just say the guy has an experience where someone laughs them out of the door, right? Laughs them out, saying, this is such a stupid idea. Why did you even think about this, right? Well, they have the thought like, maybe I am kind of dumb. Maybe I just oversold myself on this, right? And they have the emotion of shame. Maybe they feel really bad. They feel stupid, whatever it is. They no longer come up with more of those ideas, or when they do, they kind of like silence them almost, like, and they no longer write them down anymore. They no longer take action there, right? And over time, they come and they form that belief, which is, you know, maybe I'm just not cut out for this whole business thing, right? Maybe I'm just not a good businessman. Maybe I'm not an inventor. Maybe I'm not one of these types of people that I read about in news stories or they hear about on television or they have movies made about them, right? Maybe I'm just not one of those types of people. So you can see, first of all, how person A is going through life. They have no whatsoever control over their mindset. They have no control over their emotions, their thoughts, their behaviors, anything like that. It's all free for all. It's all free flowing, right? And because they haven't really taken responsibility and taken control, they are at the mercy of every single input, every single person, every single voice, every single experience, and they're always at the brunt of it, and it's never working in their favor, right? Let's talk about person B. Now, let's just say that the same things happen to them. The same things happen to them, okay? Let's just say that, for example, with the voices, they have a friend who says, oh my gosh, man, you know, I can't believe that you're starting a business. Corporations are so crooked. That is so dumb, right? And after that call, they think about it, they have a thought, and they're like, you know what, maybe that's true for my friend, but I know that's not really true. I'm actually listening to a bunch of podcasts. I'm watching a bunch of videos that say the exact opposite. And I'm going to choose to believe them because think about it. If you start a corporation, you're trying to help everyone out. You're trying to provide a service, you're trying to provide a product that helps tons of people around the world. If the only way in which you can become wealthy or rich is if you help a lot of people. You know, the only way in which you become a billionaire is if you are helping so many people that everyone knows your name. I want to be one of those types of people, right? So they have the same experience, but they change their thought, they have their control over their mindset, and thus their emotions, they feel no longer hurt, but they're like, gosh, that's kind of sad that he thinks that way, right? But I know exactly why I'm doing this. So, same conclusion. Sorry, not same conclusion. Same voice, right? That we were talking about. Different conclusion. Okay, so again, it's the same thing, the conclusions. But the voice is the same, conclusion is different. Thus, the belief becomes different. So they no longer believe necessarily, as it keeps happening, corporations are evil, that they're not meant to make money. It's inevitable to make money if you help people. It's inevitable to make money if you provide a service or a product that improves someone's life to a dramatic amount. It's inevitable that you will become rich if you do these things in the same ways that other people have become wealthy, right? Let's talk about the experience, right? So again, they bring the product idea in and they're like, my gosh, I got such a cool product idea for you, man. I got something that I've invented and I have all the specs here. I even have a patent filed. They're like, this is gonna be crazy, this is bananas. I can't wait to get this out. Will you invest in me, right? And they are laughed out the door, right? And then they start to think about that experience, start to have a thought, right? And the thought is, well, there's so many different investors out there that passed up on Uber, that passed up on, you know, some times that Thomas Edison has tried inventing things, the light bulb, et cetera. So many different failed tests that he had before he got it right. There's so many people who passed up on other incredible investments, passing up even on Microsoft. Bill Gates had people who passed up on investing. Elon Musk had people who passed up on investing in his rounds, right? All these new incredible students, Airbnb, laughed out the door by so many people, right? Now it's a $1 billion company. Even other companies that are out there like Groupon, right? People laughing about this. So just because he laughed me out the door doesn't necessarily mean that. This is instead, you know what this is a badge. This is a badge that every entrepreneur before me has had to have in order to be successful. They had to face rejection. They had to be laughed at the door because if you didn't have a wild enough idea, right? So I'm gonna keep knocking on doors. I'm gonna keep trying this out because I know that eventually if I persist, I'm gonna see success. This is the exact path that anyone who wants to improve things when it comes to their wealth, their health, happiness, success with your relationships, your love, your friendships, success in your career, your job, whatever it is that you're trying to become, even spiritual, right? This is the same path you go through. So the more you understand the science of it, the easier and more predictable it becomes. So I hope you enjoyed this video. My name is Salvador Brigman. Leave a comment down below if you did enjoy, if you found at least a couple of nuggets that you took away from this video. It would mean a lot to me if you let me know in the comments down below and give me a thumbs up if you like this video. Come subscribe for more content just like this.